Okay, I'm live.
And I am live just as well, folks. Welcome to episode 21 of Music Memories with your hosts, Dr. Earl and Arknolia Bean. And we have a third man in the party here, Jeebus the God. He's a cool guy living in Vancouver. And we talked a couple times on Skype here, and he joined in last night for episode 20. He came up with a good suggestion for tonight's program, our top list of soundtracks, in which we already have compiled here. And Jeebus is with us tonight, and he has, I guess, you have a couple lists of your own, if I'm correct?
Straight off the top of my head.
All right, nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I'm going to do it too for the other two.
Yep.
Straight off the top of my head, soundtracks are awesome. They've been around forever, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I'm
Right,
going to shock you with a few of them.
Right. Now I compiled my own. I have four lists of my own. These are mostly the top five, whether it's and they're mostly comprised of the top five debut albums, the top five soundtracks, the top five songs from the Kinks, and then the top five albums from the Moody Blues. And the albums from this from the Moody Blues are taken from the Core 7
Well,
album there.
not necessarily. Now, Jeebus might have others he likes better.
Yeah, who knows? Well, but that's one reason why we have Jeebus on, so we can add his input. He could surprise us, with his top favorites there. And I guess
Right.
you wanted to
And
start with the Moody
I guess
Blues?
we'll start. Yeah, we'll start with the Moody Blues, and let's do our number five first.
Okay.
And I guess we'll start with Jeebus.
All right. Jeebus, you ready, dude?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your number five Moody Blues.
What? I didn't make. Oh shoot! I'll let you guys go, and I'll just comment.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's what
Do
I
your-
usually do at
Do yours,
times.
Doctor.
Okay. Now these lists of five albums are taken from the course, what is known as the Core 7 from 67 to 1974 there. And I'm going to explain these albums pretty definitely here. Number five on my Moody Blues top five albums will have to be, of course, the first full-length record they put out, Days of Future Past. Now, was one of the first records to combine orchestra arrangements with rock music there. What they did is they compiled a full orchestra to accompany the tracks that the Moody's have already recorded, like a Peak Hour, Tuesday Afternoon, and of course, Nights in White Satin, which, as you notice on the album version, the orchestra was added on to the actual recording there. Because when I first heard the original 45 version, there was no orchestra, just Mike Pinder's Mellotron there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that album is a true, I guess, probably one of the first concept albums that took and did a whole thing based on a theme throughout.
Yeah, and the theme was basically the whole from morning until nighttime. What goes on
Right.
during the whole day. That was the whole concept. I remember an old next door neighbor who turned me on to that album was saying this will be the music of the future. There.
It is pretty close. And it's actually among the first prog albums. And prog is my first love. I am deep into prog.
And I guess it's safe to say that the Moody Blues, as me and JB, Dave Rose were talking about it on an episode of Monetize This, and we both agreed the Moody Blues were one of the first prog rock bands to emerge towards
Right.
later, of course, bands like King Crimson, yes, Genesis with Peter Gabriel, with Gentle Giant, other groups
Soft
with
Machine,
correct. Yep.
Vandergraaf Generator.
Yep.
I mean, I can sit here and name them all day, but we'll get to them.
Yeah, and of course, the U.S. had theirs, offered theirs as well. That's such as Kansas, Dream Theater. What's
Right.
that group called? The Mars Volitas. I've had trouble
Oh,
pronouncing.
Mars Volta.
Mars Volta. Yes,
Yeah.
of course. And of course, other bands are out there that are now trending on Facebook, trying to advertise themselves on Facebook. So many I can't even name there. Now, number four on the list would have
Wait.
to be. Go
My
ahead.
number five.
Your number five.
This is kind of tough. I'm going to go with To Our Children's Children's Children, and I really like that album. But the other four for me worked real well. But To Our Children's Children's has some of my favorites, which is kind of bizarre. But I think I put that. On second thought, I'm going to agree with you on Days of Future Past. I'll put that number five.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Now, number four is on my list is On the Threshold of a Dream. Now,
Ooh, I like that one.
now that was interesting. When I saw that, I remember seeing that at, I think it was a garage sale when it was about 13 or 12 years old. And I was pretty impressed by the cover of it.
Oh
And
yeah, their covers are outstanding.
yeah, especially the cover for the number one album on my list here. Now, what was intrigued was the first opening track, In the Beginning. With that
Yeah,
computer,
because
with
that little computer voice thing.
yeah, your your magnetic ink. If you ever listen to
Yeah,
at the beginning of that album, you know what I'm talking about there. And plus, that of course is the Mellotron in the background there, operated of course by the Mellotron King Mike Pinder.
yeah, that guy could. Oh wow.
And I also read it here in the story that something screwed up with this Mellotron, and it took about 20 minutes for him to get his toolbox to fix the whole damn thing, while some cartoons are being shown while he was doing that.
Yeah. From what I understand, a mellotron's a hard instrument to keep up.
Yeah, it is because you remember, and the Mellotrons back then were run on mostly tapes.
Right.
And the note only lasts about 8 seconds, really, when you really think about it there. But the
Right.
sounds that would come out of it was just flat out either put you in outer space in another world or would bring tears to your eyes. A lot of times when it was played towards a very somber type song there.
Yeah. Okay. My well, I hate to agree with you in each case, but in this case, I got to agree on this one.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that one as On the Threshold of a Dream is my number four.
Okay, number three on the list. Seventh, what is the last name? Soran, I think it's called.
Sojourn.
Seventh Sojourn. Yeah. And but a lot of the tracks on that album are pretty damn good. Like damn gonna Lost in a Lost World, When You're a Free Man, that's a very haunting track there. And of course
Oh
we
yeah.
can't oh yeah. And we cannot forget the hit single from that song, I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band. And plus You and I, Land of Make Believe, it's pretty damn good, pretty easy songs to play on the guitar. New
Yeah.
Horizons, the second track from that album,
For My
very
Lady, which actually I was in a band that covered that song.
nice, yeah. So that's definitely on my list there. Top. That's at number three there.
Yeah, I'm. Well, real quick before we get to my number three, I know both of us are probably leaving off Every Good Boy Deserves Favor,
Oh my
but that.
God, I forgot to put that on my list. That would be
Oh, that's fine. I
oh.
mean, because actually, to me, the other five that we will do will be better, but this is an album worth mentioning.
But you know what? Now that you mention it, I'm going to add a second. I'm going to. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Future Past at number six, Threshold at number five, Seventh Surgeon at number four, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor at number three, because I remember having
Okay.
yeah, because I remember hearing it on the eight track that my dad that had gotten, and I was like mesmerized by the first opening track. Was it Procession? I think it is.
Yeah, and you remember what Every Good Boy Deserves Favor actually means.
Yeah, it's Rewards. I think it is, if I'm
It's
correct.
what? Well, no, it's the scale on the music staff.
Ah,
E- It's E G B D F, and that's your what do they call those things?
chords. Yeah.
No, it's a it's a term that you use to memorize things,
Ah,
and that's what every good boy deserves favor means for the lines and a staff on music.
I see. Yeah.
And
I never knew about that there.
yeah, and the spaces are face, FACE.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Just
see, I
let
can
my
read
name
music.
go.
It's a term, but I can read music.
Wow.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and the two that I mentioned, I'm going to drop down
Yeah.
because I'm going to do six now.
Okay.
And I'm going to put on the threshold of a dream here.
All
Oh,
right.
wait, did I already mention that one?
I think you put it at number 4.
Okay, let's do it to our children's children. I love that album, but the other three I like better.
Yeah. That's number 2 on my list as well, believe it or not.
But that one has got some excellent songs on it.
Absolutely. Cradle of Life, Watching and Waiting, Gypsy, Eyes of a Child, the opening track, Higher and Higher, which, by the way,
Yeah,
for I understand, the beginning of that track was supposed to represent a rocket ship lifting off. And basically, that whole album was a concept album inspired by the landing on the moon back that same year. It was also the first record that the debut on their own record label, Threshold Records, if you may remember.
yeah. Because before that, I think they were in Durham.
Yes, Darren Records, yeah, which was it was distributed in the States by London Records, and in the UK it was from Decca Records.
But
And
that, I guess, would be my number four.
yes, and interest and the other ad, they would also that label will also be an output to put out solo releases by the guys like I know Hayward and Lodge put out a record they did
Blue
together called
Jays.
Blue Jays. Yes, I know Mike Pinder put out a couple solo records as just as well, and they even signed a couple other acts out there. One of them was a group called Trapeze, which whose singer and
Yeah, they
bassist
had a
Glenn
couple of good
Hughes
ones.
whose singer bassist Glenn Hughes would later join Deep Purple, and the drummer Dave Holland would later join Judas Priest in the 1980s.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Okay, what you got at number three?
Well, actually, to my children's was actually number 2. Number 3 would have to be, as I rearranged it, every good boy deserves a favor.
Okay, I guess my number three. Ooh, that's got tough for me. Um, Probably In Search of the Lost Chord. I
Uh,
like that one a lot, but the other two I'm going to put higher.
I, it's kind of
But In
funny
Search of
that.
the Lost Chord's got some great stuff on it.
Oh yeah, House of Four Doors, and of course we cannot forget the song Legend of a Mind, the song about Timothy Leary, the psychedelic drug
Yeah,
doctor there.
and actually I have a liking very much for the Om song.
Oh yeah,
Om.
yeah. I guess they were practicing that particular stuff there for a while, for what I understand.
Yeah,
Oh,
and Dr. Livingston, I presume.
oh yeah, and of course Ride My Seesaw, and the beginning of that
Right.
track just as well.
Yeah, the one about bursting up to the tarmac again. Yeah,
Yep.
the Grammy Edge thing.
Yes, absolutely. You got to give Graham Edge the drummer credit. He came up with some pretty damn good poetry there.
Yeah, well, Days of Future Past proves that.
Yep. And
Um,
also on the other albums as well. He wrote the words to Higher and Higher from To Our
yeah,
Children's, as well as The Balance from A Question of Balance.
I always liked that one line about a million butterflies sneezing or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know.
That was pretty awesome to me.
Yeah, it was.
I
And
don't know
by the way,
why.
speaking of Question of Balance, that album is number 1 on my list because the feel and the atmosphere of that record, along with the cover of that album, was pretty
Well,
much top notch.
We'll get that in a second here. I guess we're at number two. Find out which one you got at number two, and then which one you left off.
All right. Well, like I said, I rearranged it when you brought up Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. What I just said just now is I put Instead of a top five, it's a top six. The
Right.
six will be Days of Future Past. Number five is Threshold of a Dream. Number four is Seven Surgeon. Number three is Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. Number two, To Our Children's. And number one, A
Okay.
Question of
No.
Balance.
Well, okay. I hadn't done my two yet, but
All
that's
right.
fine.
All right. Eh,
Okay, and actually, my number two is Seven Sojourn. I
Oh, yeah.
really like that album. I don't know why.
I know. Probably
And
because
number
of this.
one is A Question of Balance.
Mine is number one as well because, and like I said, the feel, the atmosphere, the arrangements, and production of that album was just, the one that's my personal favorite for that album would have to be "How Is It We Are Here."
Yeah, and I like And the Tide Rushes In
Yep. Oh yeah. And plus,
and
how the
Minstrel Song. But
Mitch.
my favorite on that album is Melancholy Man.
Oh man, that was a Honda. The bridge of that song, I don't know what kind of filters or effects he used for that winds sounds of winds throughout that song, but that was completely fucking haunting, dude. That was just completely it was like wow, holy cow. The last time you heard a song like something like that was on the Beatles, I Want You She's So Heavy.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
storm coming at you at full blast, man.
Well, that basically covers their core seven, but worth a mention is Octave, which had Stepping in a Slide Zone, which is a pretty decent song.
Mm,
Um, The Other Side of Life, which The Other Side of Life is a great song.
yeah.
And I
And that
think that's the one with Your Wildest Dreams on
yes
it.
it was, yeah. And sadly, Octave was the last record to feature Mike Pinder on those albums. Apparently,
Yeah,
the story, for what I understood, is that according to Pinder, him and Justin Hayward were writing the song together. They were in the complete vibe. Graham Edge tried to come in. He wanted to. I said, "Hold on, guys. Hey, guys, hold up there." And for some reason, Pinder just shut the hell up. You're just a drummer, so and so, blah blah blah, and kind of like disrespected Edge there for what he said. And I guess
yeah,
that kind of there was a lot of tension between those two, and I guess that resulted in him either being let go from the group or leaving.
yeah. And I'd heard the story too that he lived pretty far away, and it was hard for him to make the sessions.
Yeah, wow. And plus, I know he in a couple of interviews he's been trying to say for many times that he was really sorry that he did that, but he's trying to send messages to this people, to that people, and we're like, wait a minute, couldn't you just apologize to him yourself, there?
Yeah, it would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, but I don't know. But then again, we don't know what Graham Edge's viewpoint is that, he could probably hold on to something like that for the rest of his life. Who knows?
Yeah. And the other song that's worth mentioning, and we'll do a top five when we get to the Moody, or top 10 when we get to the Moody Blues,
Yeah.
is I Know You're Out There Somewhere, which was a big hit for them. I think it's on the Sur La Mer album.
Yeah, I remember hearing that on the AM radio all the time. When I had this one car, and before I actually got my first tape player put in there, what I did, I used to play this AM station out of Chatham, out of Canada. I used to cruise around the metropolitan beach area by a Clinton Township back in Michigan a lot of times.
Yeah.
They would play songs like that song, as well as Hands to Heaven by the group Breathe, and a couple other tracks as well that was trending at that time.
Right.
It was,
Right.
yeah, so interesting that, and people ask, well, were you listening to rock and roll stations as well? I say, yeah, I listened to that, but there was something about that station that intrigued me for some reason. I don't know what it was.
Well, see, you're kind of a musicologist like I am, which is I have my certain core that I really like, but I'm willing to listen to other things just to get a feel for other things.
Yeah,
I don't want to be stuck in one, I don't want to be one of those people that I like this and that's all I like. Everything else can suck.
yeah.
It's just not the way to be.
Yeah, exactly. You
That's
I
gotta.
want to
good
know
music.
your guys' opinions about a couple of the albums here. It's Strange Times and December.
I
On the
never.
Moody Blues.
Yeah,
Strange Times is decent. There's a couple of good songs on it that I can remember. December, I'm not that familiar with.
I don't think I've heard any of the tracks from those two records. To be honest with you,
Those were the
Strange,
newest record.
the
The
last.
newest
yeah.
record.
Yeah,
You know,
Well, that one of the songs that comes to
you
mind would
guys
be
are really familiar with the '60s and the '70s, but they've got shoot. How many records do these guys have? Like what, 15, 12?
yeah,
It's a
somewhere in that
lot.
range.
all
And there
together,
are
I
good
believe so.
songs
Yeah.
on Strange Times. English Sunset's a great song.
Hmm.
Sooner or Later is pretty decent. There's good songs on those albums. I guess they don't stick because they're newer. That's
They're
kind of
newer. They don't have that when you remember growing up or at a certain age, and when music was good, right? As well.
Yeah, that's what. That's
which
the
is
thing
kind of
that. It's which is another thing in my issue with the certain radio stations is they don't want to give time or any place for the newer music, but they always go back to this same stuff that they always play over and over and over, whether it's Feel Like Making Love or More Than a Feeling. Like how many records Boston has released it, since I think the last one they put it out was in 2011, I think it was. It's called
in corporate or something like that.
I think no, I think it was Corporate America. I think that was before
Yeah,
Brad Delp died, from what I understand there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
And
if a guy wanted to get a hold of some of these albums, you wouldn't be able to, like, aside from getting them digital,
Yeah.
physically in your hand.
Yeah.
The only way would
you'd have
be
to find
record,
an
right?
old record store. Well, actually,
Have any of those albums?
well, a
You
lot of
guys
the
collect records?
well, a lot of the more popular albums are available on CD.
And yeah, but the thing is, right now, this moment, I think right now, because of all the downloads, streaming music sites that are out there,
Yeah,
mostly the CDs are pretty much, they're kind of like at a minimal. Like for instance, at a Walmart nearby, they have lots of vinyl albums, but very few CDs out there.
interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
And
and
finally
back,
coming back. It's been coming back hard, right?
yeah, there
yeah,
has been, yeah,
there are people that just like the way vinyl sounds,
yeah.
for lack of a better word, because CD's got that uh, kind of a, for lack of a better term,
Clean sound.
clean, crisp.
Yeah.
You don't hear the way things were. And on that December
Whereas
album,
the on the vinyl record you could hear that bass, a lot more
yeah,
clearer.
and on that December album, that's kind of a Christmas album, actually,
Oh,
which is interesting because they waited a long time before they did Christmas songs.
wow. And by the way, the Moody Blues are still together, but now it's a trio. It's the Justin Hayward, John Lodge, and Graham Edge. I guess
Yeah,
Patrick
Ray
Moran.
Thomas retired.
Yeah, what again? Ray Thomas retired, and
Ray
Pat.
Thomas retired.
Yeah, he was the guy who did tambourine, the flute, and a couple other percussion instruments as well. He sang and wrote some
Right.
so good songs just as well, like the one we mentioned, "That the Tide Rushes In."
And For My Lady.
Yep, absolutely, which is a great song to play, by the way, if you're slow dancing with your lady love there.
Yeah.
And of course,
But
Patrick, and also, I don't know what happened with Patrick Moraz, who took Mike Pinder's place there. I guess he probably left or was let go, I think it was.
I honestly don't know his fate.
No,
He was
okay.
also in Yes for a while.
Yeah, I remember the album Relayer.
Yeah.
I had that
And
album.
okay, but I guess that kind of goes over the Moody Blues. Did you have anything to add, Jeebus?
What's that? Sorry.
Do you have anything to add to the Moody Blues before we move on?
Geez, they've been around a long time. A lot of albums. I don't
Oh yeah.
think. I mean, they've been around longer than any of the British invasion, right?
No, they came out
No.
about the same time.
Yep, all those bands, like the Kinks, the
No,
Stones, the
but they stuck
Beatles.
around the longest, haven't? I mean,
Well,
other
other
than
than Stones.
yeah.
Yeah, the
That's
Stones,
all
the
I got.
Who.
Dad.
Yeah,
It's a good band though.
yeah.
Good
The,
band.
Yeah,
the
because
Who's are still together.
Days of Future Past came out in 1967,
Yep.
but that wasn't their first album.
No, it wasn't. They had a couple other records, but this was before the lineup that we all knew. Because
The
they had that
semi-classic laminate.
exactly the song "Go Now" that featured Denny Lane, and who later in the '70s would join Paul McCartney's Wings.
Right, right. Well, I guess let's move on to debut albums.
Okay, I have another top five here, and you're going to be a couple of surprised about a couple on this list here.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Well, this is going to be off the top of my head,
Oh, yeah.
so
You want to do first, or do you want me to start?
you start.
Okay, number five of my top debut albums have to be "Burns Like a Star" by Stone Fury. Now, I did a video review of this album on my channel not too long ago. I was able to finally download it, and I had the cassette for it, and was like, wow, really intrigued by the first track, "Break Down the Wall." It was good, clean, hard rock without no scares of the demon thrash stuff there that bands like Slayer were coming out with at that time, or a Merciful Fate. You know, it was pretty damn good stuff there. And it's also notable that the singer Lenny Wolf would be later be the frontman for the band Kingdom Come, a couple of
Okay.
years down the
Right.
line there. Now it's good, clean guitar rock and good, decent songs on that album. Songs like "I Hate to Sleep Alone," "Don't Tell Me Why," and the last track, "Shannon You Lose." Good song, good album there. Oh,
Oh,
excuse me,
okay.
great album. Number four would have to be an album that
Oh,
what?
I got a number five.
Oh wow.
Meet the Beatles.
Oh yeah, the
That's
Beatles.
Oh yeah,
an all-time classic
good one.
debut album. Although technically it's a U.S. debut because they released stuff earlier overseas. But as
Absolutely.
far as the U.S. audience is concerned, this is the debut. Because I mean, Meet the
That's a
Beatles.
tough record to find.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
because
it's
especially in that with that particular title, because nowadays that it's reissued as "With the Beatles," the British version that's on CD right now.
right, right. The
And I,
Capitol records are hard to find.
I know, I know, I'm still saying that Capitol Records should at least reissue the U.S. versions, on
Right.
vinyl and CDs just as well. What the fuck? I remember they had the box set of the Capitol U.S. releases there, but that was back in, I believe, in 2005, I think it was.
I want to
Right.
get into the discussion in a future date. The whole mess that the Beatles got into with Michael Jackson owning their content.
Yeah, that all in their songs. Yeah, I remember Paul McCartney was the one who suggested Michael Jackson go into the music publishing buying thing there because that's where you could earn lots of money. But keep in mind, while Paul McCartney was still pissed off that Michael Jackson bought the rights to their songs, keep in mind that McCartney also, if I understand, bought the rights to a few Buddy Holly songs.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
what we'll do is we'll cover that when we go over our Beatles list.
Hmm.
once we get there.
Which, yeah, it won't be long actually. But I guess now you're number four.
Okay, well, number four is an album that I first heard on the high school radio station back around 1982. There, that's when I discovered bands like Slayer, Metallica, other songs by Iron Maiden and such. Um, I heard the track called "What You Don't Know Sure Can Hurt You," and this was the first track from this album. Now, it was released originally in '82 on a UK label titled Secret Records. It would be reissued with remixed in 1985 on their US label Atlantic Records. And I'm speaking of "Under the Blade" by Twisted Sister.
Hmm.
Oh, cool. That's a good one.
Songs like "Shoot 'Em Down," "Day of the Rocker," a lot of a lot of good stuff there. Great album. It was like one of the most fiercest heavy metal records of all time. And of course, the U.S. version would have later come up with a bonus track that they recorded titled "I'll Never Grow Up," I guess it was called. Another rebellious youth song there. And
Yeah.
yeah. So you got to give it
Here's
up
a
to.
fun one. Here's
Yeah.
a fun one that I wanted to throw out. I don't have a list or anything, and I don't have a lot off the top of my head, but one of my very favorite albums growing up was Appetite for Destruction
By Guns N' Roses.
by Guns N' Roses,
Yeah.
man. That was a good album.
Did
Holy.
cassette or a vinyl album?
Cassette.
Oh wow! Because if you
I,
had the because it would be cool. You know what? That album has now been reissued on vinyl just as well. And get this, it's what they do is instead of a two-sided record, they have a three-side. You know, they extended it into a double album, whereas the fourth side is completely blank.
Huh.
Yeah, and instead of a sides 1, 2, 3, it's side G, side N, and side R.
Johnny Winter released an album like that in the 70s,
Oh wow!
60s, 70s.
What-
I forgot the name of the album, but I remember I had the album.
And also,
And
of
there was
course,
a 1, 2, 3, and nothing.
all right. Same thing with the band Extreme, three sides to every story. And also we can,
I'm
and
gonna
also
guess that Winter was the first one that did it.
all right, and also I think we cannot forget the reissue of Hunky Dory by David Bowie.
Yeah.
I know when Ryko Records released that album, it was the third side was just bonus tracks, and of course nothing on side 4.
Arknolia, do you ever mess with Guns N' Roses? Were you ever
Yeah, they got a
Yeah, I remember having
Excuse
Use
me.
Your Illusion
Uh,
1 and 2.
Well, I'm trying to remember the name of the song off the top of my head that's got the.
Welcome to the Jungle?
Well, yeah, but I
Welcome
mean,
to the
I'm talking.
jungle.
Yeah,
No,
but
there's
that's
another one that's got. Oh, Sweet Child of Mine.
oh yeah, the
Oh, that's
guitar.
a good one.
That opening little guitar. I get into guitar little things.
By the way, I saw this on YouTube. Robert Fripp from King Crimson and his wife Tanya Wilcox did like a short cover of that song when they're on her channel there. It's just Toya, and it's they have it
Wow.
right there. And Robert Fripp
Sweet
does.
Child of Mine?
Yep, they did. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah, look
I'm
up, look for
gonna have
Toya.
to look
Just
that up.
yeah, definitely. Just look for Toya channel. TOYAH.
Yeah, because I'm a big Robert Fripp fan.
So am I, man.
That's that would be interesting.
He also did
Okay,
this.
my number 4 is going to throw you for a loop here, but for me, this was a real great debut album, the Amboy Dukes,
Oh my gosh, Ted Nugent and the Boys.
Ted
and
Nugent.
this was before Journey to the Center of the Mind,
Man,
but it's got a great version of Baby Please Don't Go.
I remember hearing that, man, on Detroit radio many times, man. Fucking fierce, man.
And they covered I Feel Free by Cream.
Oh yeah.
They also did Down on Phillips Escalator, which is a pretty cool song, actually. And another one called Gimme Love, which is another good. You can hear Nugent starting to get it up. Journey to the Center of the Mind's on the next album, but
Yeah.
that's, their probably their big song was Journey to the Center of the Mind.
Yeah, and of course we talked about the album cover there.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
It's kind of funny because, Nugent's one of those,
anti-drug.
yeah, and when they did Journey to the Center of the Mind, he thought it meant just expanding your consciousness.
Yeah.
And I guess the guy who wrote it told it, no, it's drug song. And he's like, what? And I don't think he ever played it after that, to be
Oh man, I
honest.
know exactly.
What year is the debut of Ted Nugent? What was the year the album came out?
I'm gonna say early 70s. I
mean-
just
Okay.
know that
What Ted Nugent?
Stranglehold was the
The Ted
first
Nugent
Ted
album.
Nugent song was
Yeah, it's
Stranglehold.
1972, 71, I believe. Yeah,
Where's Ted Nugent from?
Detroit,
Detroit.
Michigan.
Oh, he's a Detroit guy. Okay,
Yep,
cool.
yep, just like me.
All right.
Yep,
All right. Well, geez, a lot of artists came out of Detroit. That's
a lot of great artists, a lot of underrated artists. Iggy Pop and the Iggy Pop, he's from Ann Arbor, Michigan. The Stooges,
Mitch Ryder.
Mitch Ryder, the Detroit Wheels, the MC5.
Just like Like we had lots of bands out of Texas.
Absolutely, there. You got, and plus you got to give it up to Detroit for having that riveting power sound there, because
Hmm.
it even said there where Mick Jagger would be like rah rah rah, their singer would be like rah 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 rah, because so, and even I forgot who it was, but some radio DJ said something about Michigan really adds a lot of more harder edge to a lot of these bands' music.
Right. Okay, what's your number three?
Oh, we cannot forget the Bob Seger system.
Ooh.
For your number three?
No, no, I'm talking about Detroit bands out there that were hard
Oh,
to dreamy.
you
Now,
scared me.
sorry about that.
I was going to say
Okay.
his first three or four albums were kind of were good, but they weren't what you'd call wow. Who's these guys?
I know. Well, my number three would have to be an album that spawned the thrash metal, helped actually spawn the excuse me, bleh, I'm getting tongue tied, the thrash heavy metal movement, and that took place in the early 1980s. I'm speaking of course, "Kill Them All" by Metallica.
Oh, nice.
Came out on Megaforce Records in 1983. My best friend Dennis still has the original vinyl copy of that album.
Wow.
Yes, and the album, of course, has been reissued on their on the. It was reissued now, of course, on their record label, Blackened Recordings, and of course, it was reissued on Elektra Records with two bonus tracks, as we all know.
Where
Right.
are they from?
Who Metallica?
Yeah,
They're from California. They're from the Bay Area.
California.
Yeah,
All
they're from
right.
the Bay Area there.
All right.
Okay. My number three is one that I'm amazed you haven't mentioned yet.
Hmm.
Little group from England called Black Sabbath.
Oh my
Oh,
God, that's on my list as well.
That debut album was kind of like, oh, this is worth. I got to hear more.
Oh man,
When that one came out.
I explain my when I first heard the first Black Sabbath album. I explained that when I first heard that it was on a rainy day. I wanted to try to recreate the sound that album did, the way that I was trying to recreate it in my old dad's garage, with the plastic amplifier, the Tiesco guitar, and and I mentioned this. I remember you remember this, Jeebus, me talking about this, trying to recreate the sound of that album while there was water on the ground. Believe it or not, I could have got electrocuted and died right there.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
gosh. But luckily the amplifier was sitting on something there, and I kept the cords away from the water there. Thank goodness. But still, it was a dangerous thing for me to do, man.
Oh yeah. Okay, what's your number two?
Number two, the first Boston album,
Ooh.
Wow.
because of the way the
What?
album sounded, the way the arrangements, and the fact that the guy behind it, not only wrote the songs, played guitar on them, produced it, and it was the engineer of that album. That record took about 5 years to be fully completed before it came out officially as Boston.
Not a bad song on it.
Yeah, that's true. Even though, and probably one of the most top-selling debut albums of all time in the rock and roll category. The other be, of course, the Whitney Houston first record, but that's in a
Uh,
different music category, So that Whitney's debut was considered a rival in the terms of album sales for a debut record there.
right.
But the Boston album, still to this very day.
And my number two is the Boston album. We matched on
Yeah.
that one.
Right.
Because boy, I tell you, I think well we'll do a list on them someday. But I think my favorite song on that album is "Foreplay Long Time." I
Oh
just
yeah.
love that song. You can hear the prog in that song.
Absolutely. And the way Tom Schultz, the guitarist, the man I mentioned who wrote it and engineered that album, the dude can crank on the organ just as well as on the guitar.
Yeah, and that's just a great song.
And then, and by the way, we also remember he has started a company called Schultz Research and Design, which they made a lot of guitar effects,
Yeah.
including the famous Rockman component there, where it's like a size of a Walkman, but you're able to play it through amplifiers, get different sounds, volume levels here and there. Man made tons of money off it, and he used the money he earned from that to afford himself a lawyer to take CBS to court when they were suing him, because the guy takes a long, long time to record albums, because what he does is he sits, listens to them over and over to make sure this is perfect, that beat is perfect, that bass line is perfect there. He even stated in an interview he will not put out a second-rate Boston album just to fill the pockets of his record label or his.
Right. The man was a true artist and
Yeah.
perfectionist.
And it's still around. I guess they still do shows now and then. Of course, not now because of the COVID-19, but it's all different
Well,
lineup.
right. Okay. I'm going to guess that our number one's the same, but go ahead.
My number one, okay, you already mentioned it, the first Black Sabbath album.
Oh, wow.
And I explained what the feelings. I explained it everything just minutes ago. What can I say? This was the first heavy metal album. And by the way,
Well, that's debatable, but
yeah, that's
yeah.
true. But then again, it's a lot. According to many people, when this album turned 50 years old, I wanted to go out and buy the first album once again on vinyl. But now here's something
Right.
else. You know those Funko Pop figurines that come out of different characters from movies and musicians here and there?
Yeah, I've heard of those.
Yes, I've seen multiple. They have them at either Walmart's and Hot Topics here or Spencer for Gifts. They came out with a big, I think it was a limited edition, a Funko Pop version recreating the cover of that first album with that woman
Oh,
on
I
the
heard
front
that.
cover.
Yeah.
Yes. And by the way, the woman on that front cover, her name was finally revealed after all these years. Her name was Louisa Livingston.
Yeah.
She
But yeah,
was,
definitely an iconic cover.
yeah, apparently she was a nude underneath that black robe she was up there. It was, she remembers it was a cold day there when they shot that cover. And it was different outtakes of that photo shoot there, and then the last one they
Right.
used it was the one that made the cut. And also
Yeah.
the area that they shot that photograph in was at a water mill in the Oxfordshire, England.
Yeah. Okay, you want my number one?
Go ahead.
And I'm kind of surprised it went on your list.
Mm.
Led Zeppelin.
Oh my goodness, dang gummit. No, man. Now I got to put that number, rearrange my list again because, put Zeppelin next to Sabbath there because
When that
that
album came out, that just, I mean, it was different from anything else that was going on. Every song on that album was good. It was not all the same stuff. It was all. I told you the story while I was working in a Gibson's, which is like a Kmart, whatever,
Yes.
discount store. And the 8-tracks came in, and I saw this one, and I had the authority to open them and put them in to play.
Yep.
And I saw that album cover, and I was like, hey, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the Hindenburg.
Opened that thing up, plugged it in, and the first song that played was Good Times, Bad Times, and I'm going like, oh my gosh, this is good. And then to listen to the rest of it, was like, there's nothing bad on this whole album.
Yeah,
That's just something that what we discussed before, and Jeebus might not be familiar with this, but in the 60s when they released albums, they would put a couple 3-hit songs on them and fill it with whatever they felt like.
yes.
And generally, there was a good one here and there, but a lot of times the filler was just them either covering
Well-
stuff or it's John.
Well, also back then, you could also just buy the singles, on
Right. Right. And the albums were
the
kind of like
songs you
for the
wanted.
Yeah,
completists, the people that wanted to do everything. But that's
That was enough. That was enough. If you got 3 good tracks on the album, that was enough to make people want to buy them.
yeah, because albums were relatively cheap anyway.
yeah. At that
Back
time,
then.
Back then, it was. I remember when I was buying them, it was about $6.99, $7.99.
Oh Lord,
Nowadays at the
when I bought
bars
them,
on
they
the
were when I was buying them, they were like $2 if or less.
wow, damn, damn. That's all I gotta say. You buy the
Yeah,
vinyl record nowadays, it's about 24 or $25.
yeah, yeah.
The reissue
But
of the Pink Floyd The Wall album is about $42, believe it or not.
well, that's a double set.
And I know that is true. Yeah.
But another debut album that's worth mentioning, but didn't make my list, is Blue Cheer Vincebus Eruptum. Now,
Oh.
that possibly is your first hard heavy metal album.
Oh yeah. I remember the quote that one of the members were talking about. They said they described their music as quote unquote, instead of kissing babies at eating flowers, they were kissing flowers at eating babies.
Yeah, it's this album is incredibly hard for 1960, whatever it was. I mean, every song on that album is a driving song. I mean,
It was,
a
yeah.
hard song.
Their cover of Eddie Cochran's "Summertime Blues" still played to this day. On I remember hearing
Yeah,
a couple of times at the Goodwill and a couple, excuse me, couple of Goodwill stores because remember they play a lot of '60s music there through the
yeah,
speaker there. I think it's a satellite
and
radio or something like that. I guess what is.
oh, possibly.
Yeah.
But that album right there is among some of the first metal songs because it was hard driving stuff. Any of you metal fans out there, find it. Vincebus Eruptum.
And play it
It's
and
only 6 songs, but wow,
man, and
they're
play it
long.
loud as well, folks.
6 songs and they're long for the most part. I think Summertime Blues is the shortest one at over 4 minutes.
Ah,
But there's some great songs in there.
wow, man.
Uh,
What's the longest rock song? Would that be Freebird?
oh no,
No, I think
no.
there's other songs that are that longer.
Well, I can think of two off the top of my head, and there are probably some longer. Uh, Canned Heat on their album Living the Blues. It was live, but they did something like a 40-minute version of Refied Boogie, which they basically just
Whoa.
went through and played their stuff.
Wow.
And then if you put Tarkus off the live album, Welcome Back, My Friends, the Show That Never Ends,
Everslake
that run,
Palmer.
that runs about 30 minutes.
Yeah, that is true. There, it's great, and then also the Tarkus album. That album, that whole piece does not disappoint as well. And of course, we
Nope.
cannot forget the Gates of Delirium by Yes from the Relayer album that I
Yeah,
mentioned
that was
earlier.
about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
technically, they will tell you that their album Tales from Topographic Oceans is
Uh,
one song. And that's a double-sided album. Each side's 19 minutes.
wow, holy
So
cow!
you're talking about
You got
an
me
hour.
intrigued now, man.
But they'll basically tell you this is all one song. Now,
Wow,
it's not
man.
really, but but
But it adds the integrity to the album there.
yeah, yeah,
It's going to drive the listener to say, "Whoa, I got to check this out." That's for sure, man.
yeah. There's a lot of incredibly long songs out there,
Yeah.
but a lot of them are pretty good.
Yeah. Very damn good. I mean, like the one I remember that was pretty long, about 40 minutes, was a long extended version of a track called Blue Room by a UK electronic ambient group called The Orb.
Right,
And that came
right.
out, I guess, in 1992.
Yeah, usually if a song clocks in at anywhere between 6 to 10 minutes, you're getting long.
Okay.
And long is depending on what you're trying to hear, because a lot of times a song will be a certain length and it doesn't bother you. Hey, it's been 20 minutes, really? Another good one is Pink Floyd Echoes. That song's
Oh,
about
shit,
23 minutes,
dude.
and that thing is a masterpiece.
Clock, absolutely. Play that. I know it's been done. It's been talked about. Play that track with the last half hour of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and bro, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, that song. Have you ever heard this song, Jeebus?
I never did. No.
Oh, you missing
It's
out, man.
incredibly spacey. You
It
will,
is
I think
trip.
you'll
It
like
is the
it.
most tripped out piece of music you ever heard in your life.
I've got a couple of albums by Pink Floyd because I really like their album art.
Yep.
Yeah, which
Hanging
did
it
you
up
have?
on the wall.
Which did
Uh,
you have?
Which ones?
I can't remember. It's got like a triangle or something on the front.
Dark
Oh, you
Side
got
of the
Dark Side
Moon,
of the
The
Moon.
Prism,
Yeah,
Dark Side of the Moon. Everyone knows that record like the back of their hand. One of the
that
greatest
that
Yeah,
whole
albums.
that whole concept album is just from start to finish a fantastic listen.
And
really.
and that album sold God knows how many. That album stayed on the Billboard charts for in the top 200 charts over 15 years.
Yeah,
I've
it
got
just
like a bunch of
constantly.
albums. I've got a whole bunch of albums, but I don't have a record player.
Oh,
Oh
get
yeah,
one, dude. They got some
I'm
at
gonna
the
have to get
nearby
one.
Walmart and a couple other places there. Definitely.
yeah. You can
Yeah,
find them. You
I
have them
got
in.
one that was called Cream, and the album's like chrome. It's
Chrome,
like shiny
silver,
and shit.
silver.
Yeah,
Oh,
silver.
Oh, it sounds like Wheels of Fire. That's a great album.
yeah.
They got a live side and a studio side.
Yeah, no, or actually, it's a double album. One album
Right.
that's
Well, I
yeah,
didn't mean side. I
yeah,
meant album.
like Pink Floyd's Amagama,
Yeah, which
another
that's a good
album
one.
which I recommend, folks.
Yeah. Well, when we get to Pink Floyd, I'll end up recommending all but maybe one or two.
All right.
I mean, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan.
Oh, dude,
Uh, the-
I went spat when I first heard
They're
The
prog.
Wall when it first came out. I was like bedazzled, and I was like, I got that album. I was like amazed by the production and the storyline of The Wall there, and
Yeah.
later on I just started buying more and more. The second one I bought after that, about a month later, was Obscured by Clouds.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to recommend to anyone out there, look up on YouTube the live version of Comfortably Numb off the Pulse tour.
Ah,
That has got at the end probably the best guitar solo you have ever heard in your life by David
wow,
Gilmour. It is
absolutely,
incredible. You'll sit
absolutely.
there absolutely mesmerized. If you like Pink Floyd at all, that song will grab you and not let go.
Yeah, I mean,
If Pink Floyd didn't have all the drugs they had, could they have been as successful as they were?
what the drugs?
Uh, they did after Sid kind of did his thing and went off the deep end. They really didn't do it all that much
They were there.
after
They
that.
preferred
Just
alcohol.
yeah, because they saw what it did to Sid, and I guess they didn't want to have any part of that.
Absolutely.
We'll cover this.
They were never really a drug
So
band. They
a
just
couple, at least a few of those albums were all written when they were on psychedelics, right?
we don't
It makes you sure know. It sure seems like it.
yeah.
Another album by them that I like a lot while we're mentioning that kind of thing is Animals.
Oh yeah, the Animal Farm inspired album. That album was inspired by by a story by George Orwell called Animal Farm, And there's an
Right.
animated version of that book up there that's available. I guess it's on. You know what? They should at least release it on DVD sometime soon
Yeah. Well,
because
and the
because
song off there is another one of those long ones. Is Dogs,
dogs, absolutely,
which is a
17
great
minutes
song.
long, 17 minutes
Haven't
That's a
heard
long.
it.
great song. Oh yeah, I've heard
Oh,
all this stuff.
oh yeah. So I was buying Pink Floyd albums like crazy. Wish You Were Here, Animals, um, Amagama, other stuff there. Damn. Because when I get into
Yeah,
a band, I start
we'll
buying
get
all the
deep.
albums.
We'll get deep into Pink Floyd when it comes their turn,
Yep.
because they've got favorite songs.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, let's see. We got. You want to do the Kinks next? Because we're kind of
Absolutely.
bumping
Let's
time.
do the Kinks, sir.
We're bumping
These,
time a little bit.
all right. I got the Kinks, my top 5 Kinks songs.
Well, do you want me to start at 15 for me and then get up to 5 and then you go?
absolutely. Go right ahead, dude.
Oh shit!
Okay, number 15, I got Come Dancing. Great song, but I have others I like better.
Yep.
14, I got Top of the Pops, which is off the Lola album. It's a nice little song, actually.
Uh-huh.
It's got a little bit of metal in it. Number 13, Why Can't I Find You? Oh, there you are. Lola.
Oh yeah, that song about the
We
about the
don't know what it's about. It's purposely ambiguous.
Mhm.
They
But
want you to think about it. So, and I'm pretty sure, who knows? But the interesting thing of that song is, the line in there is something like just like cherry cola.
yep,
The original line was just like Coca Cola,
absolutely. I
and
remember that.
the
Coca-Cola
record label
Company.
made them change it because Coca Cola wanted, because they were mentioned, wanted royalties or whatever.
Yep.
Number 12, I got Destroyer. Number 11, I got a song called Do It Again, which is a great little song.
All right.
Number 10, I got is You Really Got Me, which basically is their first hit.
Yep.
Number 9, I got All Day and All the Night, which was essentially their second hit.
Yep.
Number 8, I got Tired of Waiting for You. I
I
like
remember
that
that song. That was remember that T-shirt I had all those vinyl 45s that she
Yeah,
brought in. That was included in one of them for sure.
didn't surprise me.
Yep.
Number 7, I got Who Will Be the Next in Line. Number 6, I got Well Respected Man.
I remember hearing that as well.
Okay, hit me with your number 5.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, my number 5 is the one you mentioned earlier. Catch Me Now, I'm Falling from Low Budget, 1979.
Nice song.
No, actually, no, excuse me. That was number 6. My bad. I rearranged it there just a moment ago. All right, number
Okay,
5. Okay, number 5 is Come Dancing, one of the big
right.
hits on the MTV when it was known as MTV, not the Catfish Television Network. Or number 4, of course, would be
Whoa.
Lola.
Well, I was going to say my number 5 is Dedicated Follower of Fashion.
Oh, okay.
And your number 4 is Lola?
Yeah, Lola, because because of the content about that song.
Right,
So many people are. I guess it's safe to say that many people within the LGBTQ community can adapt to that song because with all the, especially if what's seeming appropriate now, with all the transgender things that's trend that was going on for the
right,
past couple of years, with, especially now with actress Ellen Page now being addressed as Elliot Page. I guess she wants to be a boy.
right. Yeah,
And plus, with Caitlyn, the former Bruce Jenner and the former Chastity Bono.
right. And there's a tennis person, I forgot your name. Renee
Oh,
Richards?
Renee Richards, I don't know. But I know there was
Yeah.
also a transgender wrestler named Nyla Rose who wrestles with AEW.
Oh, and the one that did Switched on Bach.
Yes,
Hell
Wendy,
was his name?
the former Walter Carlos, now
She's
known
now
as
Wendy.
Wendy Carlos.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 4 is a song called Celluloid Heroes,
Mm.
which basically is singing about the past actors and such in Hollywood and such. And pretty nice little song, actually.
Yeah, kind of like ode to the movie stars of the past, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think so. Good song. There's two versions, the live one and the studio one, and they're both excellent. Okay, your number 3 is
My number 3 is a Destroyer from the album. I guess it's Give the People What They Want.
yeah,
1980
yeah,
and 1981. I think that's when that album came out.
right. My number 3 is Jukebox Music, which basically is talking about playing stuff on the jukebox music and all that. It's a good song.
Right.
Your number 2,
All Day and All the Night.
great song.
Yeah,
Well, it's on my list,
yeah. The
obviously.
next one of the power riffs. One of the next to the basically it's one of those songs with the powerful guitar riffs at the beginning of the song, and that's number 2 next to the number 1 here. Probably when they
Hold
all.
it.
Yep.
My number 2 is Living on the Thin Line.
Oh,
which I forgot what album it's off of. That's a song I really like. I believe it's a Dave Davies song, if I'm not mistaken.
wow.
And your number one is, I'm
Yep,
guessing,
you really
yep,
got me.
yeah. My number one is Rock and Roll Fantasy,
Ah,
which is basically Ray Davies talking about them and all the things they've done and all the things they've been through. And you want to quit, but I don't think I'm done yet, that sort of thing.
wow.
A great, good song. And if
Yes.
you do find it, try to get the album version, which is about 5 minutes.
Because let me guess, the single version's edited, correct?
Well, yeah, they cut stuff out of it.
They
And
always
see,
do
that's the
that.
thing the record companies don't understand. It's a lot of times when you hear something, you cut verses out of it, you're losing part of the meaning of the song.
Absolutely. But then again, at that time, there's only so much of minutes you could put on a 45.
Right.
I guess people are so surprised that the Beatles were able to do that with the song Hey Jude. And that song was way over
Absolutely.
7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 7:30, but we don't need to be exact on that.
Yeah.
And I guess now we roll into
The soundtracks?
soundtracks.
Absolutely, man. Oh, yeah.
You still there, Jeebus?
Jeebus? Don't tell me he
Oh
got.
no.
Don't tell me he got caught up. Did he leave?
I don't know. You there, Jeebus?
No, I don't see him.
He might have dropped out on the Kinks.
I don't know. Let me get him back on the call, man. Yeah, cause
Okay. And you have five, right?
yes, my my top five soundtracks here. While we get
Well,
GBS back on the call here.
I basically found 18. And
Nice.
like I said, a lot of mine are going to surprise you. You're going to
Okay.
say, really? Because, again, we're not considering single songs. These are albums,
The whole
or
album
what you
there,
would call albums.
folks. Yeah.
Right, right. It won't be like Chariots of Fire because they have an album, I suppose. I don't know, but I have never heard it.
Yeah.
And it would be
The
like
Vangelis.
uh, Jaws. I love that theme,
Hmm.
but I don't know if they've got any. I don't even know if there's an album out with that.
I don't know either. I don't think I ever saw a Jaws soundtrack album.
And then when you talk about James Bond, you got different artists that did several of the songs,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they had albums. I mean, my favorite ones are probably "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney,
Oh yeah.
"Thunderball" by Tom Jones,
Yep.
"Nobody Does It Better." Oh, was that Carly Simon?
I believe it was. Yeah, from The Spy Who Loved Me.
And then Sheena Easton for "Your Eyes Only."
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that song. She was featured in the opening of the movie as well. I think that was the first.
Yeah, and then Shirley Bassey, "Goldfinger."
Yep. Duran Duran,
And
The View to a Kill.
yeah, and Casino Royale. I don't know who did it originally, but the Herb Alpert version is really
Oh,
good.
ah,
It's an instrumental, but it's a good song.
yeah.
Did you lose Jeebus?
Yeah, he's unavailable. Dude, I don't know what the heck happened, dude.
Well, I hate that he misses out on this because this is what he wanted to do.
I know.
Are
He's
you
one of.
ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Number 18, I got the soundtrack for Grease.
Oh my gosh, I played that album a lot of times when I was in that one school with the teacher with all the records there, and
Yeah.
she had
And the
that.
funny thing is, I really didn't care much. I didn't really like the movie,
Mhm.
but there's some great songs on this soundtrack. I
Dude,
mean,
that
they're
movie and
hard.
the soundtrack next to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack were like the two top soundtracks of that period, around 77, 78.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
all over the radio. It helped. John Travolta was definitely at that time at top of his game with those two movies there.
yeah. And number 17, I'm going to change it. I originally had Willy Wonka, but I don't think there's a soundtrack for that.
I never
It
knew
was
it
a lot of,
was.
well, I don't think there is now that I think about it,
Mm.
but there were a lot of songs throughout that were really good.
Yeah,
And I'm
we
a
know
huge
one of them.
Gene Wilder fan.
And we all know one of them, Oompa, Oompa.
Yeah,
But
everybody
yes,
knows that.
yeah,
But I'm
absolutely.
going to change. I'm going to change it to Footloose
Oh, yeah.
because I like the Kenny Loggins Footloose song,
Yep.
and there's another song on that album by Bill Mayer and a girl I can't remember, Jennifer Warnes, I think,
I think
and I can't even remember the name of the song, but that's a great song.
there's another song on that album. I think we heard of this. Mike Reno of Loverboy and Ann Wilson of Heart. Was it Almost Paradise? I think it is.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
gotta
going to put
tell
that
you
on
this
there.
story here. Mike Reno, at my former workplace, the golf club that I worked at, I remember detailed this on the, I put it on my Facebook and I recorded this for my channel just as well. There was appearance by an 80s group. You ever remember Information Society? They were doing an outside
Yeah,
performance in the patio. I guess it was kind of like some sort of a show. I don't know what it was, but they were doing sort of songs like Pure Energy, Running Away, a couple others. And they announced that Mike Reno of Loverboy was going to be make an appearance as well. And he came out there and did a couple of Loverboy songs like The Kid Is Hot Tonight and Working for
yeah.
the Weekend. And they brought on this singer from, I guess she's from Korea, and who right now is suffering from Parkinson's disease. But
Mm.
they did, she was still able to sing. So they did that song, Almost Paradise, together.
Oh wow.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna go to my Facebook page and get find that picture of me and Mike Reno there, so I can post it in the Skype chat there.
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 16 is going to be my first surprise for you.
All right.
Oklahoma.
Ah, the
This is a
musical.
movie from the yeah, this is a movie from the 50s, but it's got some great songs in it.
Mm.
And my number 15, well, I've never seen this movie, but I've played the soundtrack and I love the soundtrack. Clockwork Orange. It has got some great takes on
Oh,
classical
oh
music,
yeah.
and it is really, really fun to listen to.
Ah.
My number 14 is a movie that when I watched it was like, this is stupid, but the music in it is great because it's got 5 Electric Light Orchestra songs and a couple of 3 by Olivia Newton-John that are good and
Oh
one by
my
the Tubes
gosh, I know
that's
what
good.
you're talking about. Xanadu, correct?
Xanadu, yeah,
Yep.
stupid movie, but I love the soundtrack.
Dude, I
And
had
it's
that's
got a lot
that's
of
on my
great
list
songs
too,
in it.
man.
Uh, Number 13 I got is a double set, Superman. That's some great music by John Williams. I think
Oh
it's John
wow.
Williams.
Oh wow.
I mean, you can almost see Superman and the characters from the music. You can sit and play that whole album, and if you've seen the movie, almost visualize it in your head.
Wow.
Number 12, I got Music Man from the 50s, 60s too. And the great thing about this song is the Beatles actually pulled a song from this movie and covered it, Till There Was You.
Ah.
And that's actually a fun movie to watch.
I gotta look that up now, man. Definitely.
And number 11, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Ah.
You can forget the spaceship and the guys communicating. Day, 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 day.
Oh, who cannot forget that? That was one of the big things at that time. The whole movie is classic as well. One of my top favorites next to the first Star Wars there.
Yeah, this was a great movie, and the soundtrack's good too.
Ah.
Um, Number 10 is going to surprise you.
Yes.
The Sound of Music.
Mm.
Believe it or not, that has got great stuff going on in it. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. I can remember
I don't
when that
think I
movie came
have.
out.
No, actually
I
no.
was a teenager,
But I know it was Julie Andrews in it.
and it's a good story. But I can remember when I was a teenager, my parents and I were going to go to the movie because my 2 brothers were away. I said, okay, that'll be cool. You go watch whatever you want to watch, and I'll watch whatever. We went to the theater, and it's one of those with all the choices. I
Yeah.
didn't like any of the choices, and nothing was starting at the same time, at all. They were going to go see The Sound of Music, and I said, oh, what the heck? I'll go see it. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. And I said, I'll go watch it. And I started watching it, and I'm watching it, listening to it, watching it. Said, you know what? This movie's not bad at all.
Mm.
It's a good movie. It's a great story. I mean, it's an incredible story, and the music's great because Julie Andrews has got a fantastic voice.
Yeah, you
And
gotta give her credit for that.
there's going to be songs that you're going to recognize from that movie. My favorite things, Raindrops on Roses.
Yep.
That's from that movie. And of
Yeah.
course, the Sound of Music. But that movie is worth watching.
All right.
Number 9 is a real old classic, Wizard of Oz.
Oh man. Oh
I
man, the songs
never
on that album.
failed to watch that movie every year. Never failed.
Dude, that was like a tradition for the. I guess it ran on CBS for many years. I understand. I guess to this day, if it's shown on TV, it still draws in all the viewers there. I mean, the weight, the songs, follow the yellow brick road. All the
Yeah,
other songs, and of course that
yeah,
song. Of course, we cannot forget the 1970s version, The Wiz, with Diana Ross, Michael Jackson.
yeah, but that
Ease on
does,
down the road. The funky version.
but that just simply doesn't match up with the original.
That's true
I
as
mean,
well.
and there's a cover from that movie, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of them,
Over
but
the
the one I'm
rainbow.
thinking,
Over the Rainbow. There was a singer, so I think his name was Sam Harris, who was in that, what
yeah,
was it called, Star Search. He landed a record label with Motown Records, and he did his version of that song for his record there.
yeah, and the song I was talking about was there's a group called the Fifth Estate that covered, believe it or not, "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead."
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what?
Damn.
Okay. Number 8 I got is another double album set, but the music again is memorable. The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, hell yeah. John Williams, once again.
Yeah. Number 7 I got Easy Rider. That had
Oh,
a
my
bunch.
God. I had that album just as well. The Jimi Hendrix Experience,
Yeah, there's
Steppenwolf,
a lot of great songs on that album.
the band under the name Smith were doing The Wait.
Actually, I think there was a group called Smith that did that.
Really? Because I know it
Yeah, I
was,
think so.
I think it was, I'm not sure, I got to look that up, the whole complete story about that. But um, it had the Electric Prunes, it had, I guess, what was it?
Oh, it was loaded. Iron Butterfly was in it, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Not doing, of course, Inagata de Vida, of course, as you know,
Oh no,
which
they were
was, mine
doing.
was another long song that needs to be mentioned there.
Yep. Number 6. This one's going to surprise you.
All right.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, no
That has
surprise.
got some
Classic,
magnificent
classic,
classic music in it.
classic, classic. That actually, believe it or not, I don't want to spoil, but that's my number one pick.
Well, I'm
And
not
also,
surprised.
we also cannot forget there was a volume two that came out soon afterwards.
Yep. Okay, let's do your number 5,
Okay, my number five here. The Xanadu soundtrack for with the Olivia Newton-John and the Electric Light Orchestra from
which was the
1980.
main reason I picked it was the ELO.
Yeah. The reason I picked it up was a year later because around 1981, when Olivia cut her hair and did that physical song, she was like my dream girl at that time, believe it or not. In spite everybody
Wow.
was into Pat Benatar and all that other stuff there, I was really into her, even though she was like considered an adult contemporary artist. At the time,
Yep.
I was really had infatuated with her. I bought her some of her records there. I saw the TV special, Physical, the Let's Get Physical, the TV that originally aired on ABC there, and it's like, wow, holy cow, that mesmerized me. So I was buying, so I picked up the Xanadu soundtrack because I'm maybe hearing Magic, Suddenly
Yeah.
with Cliff
But I
Richard.
love the ELO side. I mean, I just
Yeah, they
absolutely
came
thought
out with
that was
some good
great.
songs on that one as well. The Fall, Don't Walk
Uh,
Away, All
I'm
Over the
alive.
World, I'm Alive. Yep. Um,
And the Tube song on that's good too.
oh yeah, the two we on the end. What was it called? Dance, I think it's called.
Yeah, dancing or something like that.
Dancing, correct. And the one she did with Gene Kelly, Whenever You're
That
on
was
My
good.
Mind. Yeah, that was good as well.
That was a great out. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but the movie
I
stinks.
did. Yeah, I did. I
I
did.
don't like the movie.
Yeah, after when you think I don't just watch it because to hear the songs and hear see
Right.
her there, but when you think about it, the movie was like, well, there was so many problems. So I understand with the movie regarding with this situation, that situation there. She even
Well, it's kind
commented
of a
that
stupid story.
yeah, and she even said in an interview that the script was not even finished when she signed on to do the movie there. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of issues with that.
Okay, my number five, Star Wars, the
Oh,
original. That's a nice double set.
you
That's
know
another
what?
one you can sit and listen to, and you can see the movie in your mind as you're listening to it.
You know what? I don't know what record label. I guess Walt Disney Records. They should reissue all 9 of the soundtracks to all the Star
Yeah,
Wars movies as either a box set or for CD, vinyl, or individually. They should do that now, definitely.
right,
I remember the soundtrack originally first came out, what was just known as simply Star Wars. It came out on a
right,
record label called 20th Century Records, and that was a home to Barry White and his
yeah.
albums there. But
And it
now,
was a double set.
yeah, I believe the soundtrack to the Empire Strikes Back came out on RSO Records, if I'm correct.
It could be, and that was also a double set.
As well, yeah. RSO, by the way, was the record label started by Robert Stigwood, meaning Robert Stigwood Organization. It was based out of L.A.
Right.
that signed the Bee Gees, Eric Clapton, the band Player, and a couple others as well.
Okay, what you have for number four?
Number 4 would have to be The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2, The Metal Years. It came out in 1988 on Capitol Records. It had Megadeth, it had bands like London, and one of the bands that I mentioned a couple times on past programs with the YR I did earlier last year, the band Seduce, a power trio from the D-Town. They had a song about a porn star named Colleen. Um, it was the song was called Colleen. They used to often play that live a few times when me and a couple buddies saw them, and that was included on the soundtrack. It also had "In My Darkest Day, Darkest Hour" by Megadeth and a couple others as well.
Right. Okay, my number four, A Hard Day's Night.
Ah, huh.
I
Absolutely,
think we're familiar with that one.
absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing that Capitol Records needs a reissue there because the original version of that album had a lot of instrumental scores along with it as well that people need to
Well, and
hear.
that's the version I'm talking about
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
because some of those instrumentals are really good.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree as well. I agree.
Okay, who's your number three?
Um, we talked about this movie in a couple episodes ago, but I'm gonna go with Sheena, the soundtrack with the recently departed Tanya Roberts.
Oh wow, I didn't even know there was a soundtrack.
There was. I saw it at the nearby music stop, and went in Roseville, and I picked it up because I dig the theme song for that song, so I listened to it. There's some
Right.
pretty good stuff on that soundtrack there. Pretty good.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, my number three, Obscured by Clouds.
The Pink Floyd
That
album.
that has got some great music on it.
Absolutely, yeah. And by the way, it was the movie recorded on that album was for a French movie titled The Valley, which came out that same year,
Right.
which was 1972.
Right.
And we also got to throw in another soundtrack they did for another French movie titled
We'll get to it.
More.
I was gonna say we'll get to it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of like gave it away there, but I had to throw that in for all the kids out there who only know Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall.
And Jeebus only know. No,
Oh,
I'm kidding, Jeebus.
Jeebus, where'd you go? Where'd you go, dude? What the fuck?
Okay, who's your number two?
Oh, we talked about the. I was going to mention this album definitely was a trip to listen to. The U.S. version of "Help" by the Beatles.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay,
and it goes not just the Beatles, but again with the instrumental scores that came
right.
along with the U.S. version. Some of that
And
I
that's some great stuff.
absolutely did. The sitar version of "Hard Day's Night," "The Bitter End," "The Chase,"
Right.
good stuff there. Absolutely good stuff, and also good
Yes,
movies just as well, as along with "Hard Day's Night."
that was a very entertaining movie.
Absolutely.
My number two, you just mentioned More.
Mmm. Oh
That's
fuck
got
yeah.
one of my favorite early Pink Floyd songs, the Nile song.
Oh
That's
yeah. Mine is
mm,
Cymbeline, the more blues, and
yeah,
the main theme is just as well. Great album. Great album, folks.
it's absolutely fantastic. Now I'm intrigued into what your number one is.
Oh, you know, we talked about this album moments ago, and I'll mention it again. I think I already did mention 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah. That is just
that
one of the
folks
first
was
soundtracks I get, and it was just blew me away.
Star Wars of its time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they did a great version of Blue Danube. They had the choir songs where they did, and that was good.
Yep. And
Yeah,
plus,
and you always remember Dave. I wouldn't do that.
oh yeah.
Yeah, the movie's kind of weird to follow, but it's a great movie.
But yet you cannot be in more. Couldn't help but be intrigued by HAL 9000. And I said this many before. I said this in the video on my channel not so long. I think we're not now living in the 2001 prime right now. I mean, you look
Yeah,
at because one, we have Alexa, which is a female version of HAL 9000. We're able
right,
to communicate through things like StreamYards, Skype,
right.
Twitch, and other things out there. Like, oh yeah, Discord just as well. And we're able to have tablets on with us because if you see where the two astronauts are there, they're eating something while watching this interview where they're being interviewed by a British journalist. Um, they have tablets alongside their dinner plates there. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Okay, my
And
number
also,
one.
I gotta also we cannot forget the monolith. Not exactly the one they found in Utah, which keeps disappearing and reappearing there, but still,
Yeah. Well, Dan,
definitely.
Three Ponies just mentioned to me about Urban Cowboy, and I forgot all about that and Saturday Night Fever.
Wow. My sister had that soundtrack. You know, she played that record to death tremendously.
Well, those two would have made my list if I'd thought about them. Uh, my number one is Help. There's just something about the way that whole thing is crafted. It's got some of their better songs on it, and like you said, the musical fills and things of that nature
Just yeah,
on the
absolutely.
original album
Yep, the
from
U.S.
from
version.
Capitol.
Yes, yes, Capitol. Reissue the original versions of that album, please. Thank you.
Yeah, and that for me on a short think, we did this today. Uh, that would be my number one.
All right. I couldn't agree
Because
more, man.
so you see, my top four are basically the Beatles and Pink Floyd.
All right,
I mean,
absolutely. Dude.
and Star Wars is number five.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Walt Disney, if you're out there, or the boys at Disney, reissue those or the soundtrack albums. All nine of
Oh,
them.
oh yeah, and Walt Disney, while you're out there, I'm sorry I didn't mention any of yours. I do like them, but they just didn't do for me because I do like Fantasia.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean that anything that incorporates classical music in a way that's fun to
unique
watch.
way when you think about it there.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, especially when it gets itself into the movie a little bit, and you can anytime you play a soundtrack and you can visualize the movie, you know the music's good. So yeah. And as far as Urban Cowboy and Saturday Night Fever,
Oh,
those had
Urban
some great
Cowboy
songs
was
in.
all over the place. You know, Boss Skaggs, Joe Walsh. Um,
Yeah, Joe Walsh had a great song in that
oh
movie.
yeah, no, all night long. Still played on the radio, believe it or not. That the classic
Yeah,
station back in
yeah,
Michigan there that I mentioned a few times.
yeah, yeah. But I guess that covers what we were going to do today.
Yep.
Uh, I think our next one we'd planned on doing the Beatles, and I've got a top 20 of their early stuff pre Sergeant Pepper,
Uh huh.
and a top 15 of their stuff post Sergeant Pepper. And
Ah,
actually, I could expand that to 20 pretty easily.
right.
So, do we want to go ahead and do 20 for both of those?
I think yeah, we could do that. You know, I didn't really come up with a list, but if I'm going to come up with a
Well,
list,
you
it'll be
got
just
time because
mix all of them together because it doesn't matter to me. It's still the Beatles.
yeah, I divided them because it just to me that's two different errors. So, oh, I got mentioned Zachariah. That's a good soundtrack. That's got the James Gang and
Ah,
help me out there. Who else? James Gang's the one I really remember.
yeah. By the way, which would feature, of course, featured Joel Walsh. By the way,
Yeah, yeah,
Funk 49 and Walk Away. Those two classic songs there.
yeah. And when we get to James Gang, we'll cover them pretty deep because that's a group that they only had three studio albums with Walsh, but they had several others that were pretty decent too
All
without
right.
Joe Walsh.
All right.
And one great live album, two great live albums
All
with
right.
Walsh.
All right.
And I guess next show we do, whenever that will be, we'll do our top songs of the Beatles, and I guess you can do them any way you
Album.
want to do them.
Absolutely. Definitely.
But I want to do top 20 songs pre Sergeant Pepper, top 20 songs Sergeant Pepper Beyond, because that's to me two different styles. I mean, they're getting into it, but there's such a huge difference in those styles that the music's kind of divided for me.
Uh-huh.
But we will plan to do that next time you're off, I guess.
Yeah, next time because I guess I got to find out which my next days off are. You know, because I'll be working a course in the morning till about 8:30 or something like that. You know, it's about
Right.
that working my long set of hours and all that good stuff there.
Well, anytime that you're off, we could do it around 6. Just let me know ahead of time,
You know,
and I can
around
pretty much schedule it.
6 or 6:30 there. You know.
Yeah, and I can pretty much do it. So I guess again, I'll tell folks if you think about it, give us some ideas on top 10s, top 20s, or whatever in the comments. Give us your top 10 or 20 for the things we've discussed, and let's compare lists. That'll be kind of fun. Maybe you guys will touch on something
All
that I'll
right.
go, oh my gosh, of course, that I didn't think of. That we all have different tastes, and
Yep. And that's true. All right. So I
but I
guess
guess we'll do the Beatles, then we'll do the Stones and the Who, and on our list, and then we'll
absolutely.
get back into our journey.
Okay, there definitely. So I guess it's done. We're done tonight. I guess.
Yeah,
All right,
it went
there.
a little long, I think.
Yeah, we went along, but it
That's
was a
okay.
pretty good long there. But it was well worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know now, Jeebus, where you at? I don't know what the heck happened. So
Well, anyway,
next time I get a hold of you, you could we'll let you know once next time we'll be on the air, and we'll invite you, of course, as well as everybody else listening, to
anybody else that can
participate.
contribute to the show and not get off on tangents,
Yep.
uh, I'm okay with it.
Okay, there. So I guess that's going to do it for tonight. This has been episode 21 of our music memory series, Arknolia Stroke of Being, Dr. Earl W. Brown. And for Arknolia and myself, we are out of here. You guys have a good one and have a good week ahead, okay? And stay safe this coming Wednesday because there's been a lot of talk about. Oh, and by the way, before I get done here, I gotta bring this tidbit up I saw earlier today while I was out in Old Town Spring area there. Phil Spector, the famed rock music producer and convicted murderer, has passed away at age 81.
Oh, okay.
And guess what he died from? COVID-19.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Now, I'm going to read a report here from TMZ.com here. And he was the man responsible for what is known as the wall of sound. He applied that to make the sound a lot more louder, a lot more powerful. He did that with the Ronnie Spencer and the Ronettes, who was his wife for a while, the Righteous Brothers, and he suffered from COVID-related complications that are being transferred from his prison cell to a hospital. We're told that he was diagnosed 4 weeks ago, went in there, but recovered well enough to return to prison. He was serving, of course, a 19 years to life sentence for the murder of one Lana Clarkson. Now, a lot of sources say that he had trouble breathing, was rushed back to the hospital where he died yesterday. Now, he is known for, of course, as we mentioned, the Wall of Sound with Righteous Brothers. He worked with the Beatles. Remember, he worked with the Beatles remixing the Let It Be album there with the orchestra arrangements here and there for those tracks. And of course, he worked with, I guess, Ike and Tina Turner. He had Sonny Bono as one of his assistants there for a while there, prior to him hooking up with Cher.
Yeah. Okay.
And also the Ramones, their 1980 album that they put out, end of the century. He produced that album just as well. So
yeah, he definitely did a lot of addition to whatever he produced.
Yeah, absolutely there. So once again, Phil Spector, legendary music producer, dead at age 81 there. Rest in peace, Phil.
Right.
All right there. So once again, that'll be a do it for this episode here. Once again, for Arknolia and myself, you guys have a good week, and you guys have a good one, okay?
All right. And we'll talk to y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Okay.